Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 170 of First and Last. My name is Josh, and I have Joe with me.
Hey, man.
And Jimmy with me.
What's up, Pasta?
Hey, guys. Did you forget what
I don't know.
your followers are?
It's like prenatal? No, I don't. I've got nothing.
Pasta prenatals?
Blow past it. Let's just blow past it.
Okay. How's everybody doing? How's everyone's weeks?
It's been good.
Yeah.
I know this is typically your thing, the pre-show banter, but I actually have a thing I want to talk about.
Well, I want you to. This is what I want. I've been working.
Yeah.
You call it my thing, but I've wanted you to be doing this for 169 episodes.
No, I don't like to just take it over, but we got something to sort
please.
out. I don't
Let's
remember
do it.
what episode or why we were talking about it, but like a couple episodes ago, I don't even know that we were talking about it on the pod, but we were talking about like high school cafeteria foods, one of which was Italian dunkers.
Oh, we were. Yeah.
Italian dunkers, which I've never heard that term before, but like I could guess that it's just some sort of like cheesy bread that you dip in sauce.
Right.
You explained it to me that it actually, the sauce usually does have meat in it, which was a surprise to me.
Right.
Yeah, meat sauce.
So yeah, I get Italian dunkers. I'm on board, even though I've never heard of it before. I totally get it. But then there was another one that you mentioned that I had never heard before, and I had no idea, and I can't remember what it was like. It was Mexican something. I feel like
Mexican haystackers.
It's Mexican
haystackers. Yeah. I thought it was like a Mexican like pinwheel or something. Mexican
All of
haystackers.
these things have to be just terribly racist. Like, there's no one in Italy who like owns Italian dunkers. They're like, this is an abomination. Same goes with Mexican haystackers. It is like a bag of Fritos opened, and you just toss some taco meat on top.
Okay, well,
Would you say that's
yours
true?
is different then, because you just described a walking taco to me, Jimmy.
Yeah, that's a walking taco. I've heard of that.
Yeah, only what they do is they pour it onto a plate. It's literally what Mexican haystackers is.
In my later elementary years, I'd say grades 7 and 8, I feel like we had Mexican haystackers, but instead of Fritos, because sometimes it was like take a bag and chips and open it up and pour it down, and then we're gonna slop the meat on, and then your various
100%.
taco toppings. Though we had just the circle like tortilla chips.
Okay.
Like the circle corn tortilla chips.
Yeah,
got-
like
got
you would have with
leveled up in
nachos.
middle school.
Yeah, that was I would call when I think Mexican
that's literally
haystackers.
just nachos at that point.
Yeah, no, it's nachos for sure. Yeah, 100%.
So why did they come up with like a Mexican name for it? Why couldn't they just say
I don't know.
nachos?
Trying to make a bunch of white kids happy to eat Mexican food when they're 8 or something. I don't know.
Oh, I get it. It's haystacks.
Legitimately, in like later elementary school, like 5th grade, 6th grade maybe, it was like not even real Fritos. It was like flat, like maybe tortilla kind of strips, but very most like just kind of stale, and like, this is old cafeteria food. It's maybe not enough meat for tacos for the day, so they did this instead. And one day I have just a nightmare that I relive of this one day in middle school when I accidentally swallowed an entire Frito or whatever haystack whole, and it was just lodged in my throat. But it's like a strip, so like I can still breathe. It's just there, like not going anywhere. It was
like a revolving door, like a flap.
Yeah, it was awful.
So I just Googled like Mexican haystackers, by the way, and recipes of Mexican haystacks.
You on the wiki page?
They're calling them Mexican haystacks instead of stackers.
Okay.
I think that's just nomenclature,
And
changing that.
And is the main ingredient Fritos?
So the picture of the one that I'm seeing, I see no chips at all.
What?
Not even chips.
It's like, it looks like a bed of rice, and then on top of it is some sort of very tasty looking mixture of like black beans, corn, and like probably ground beef on this scenario, you know, filled with like a almost like a Mexican sloppy Joe. Like, you know, that's kind of what it looks like on top, and then some you know, some cheese and various other things like your sour creams and whatnot.
Plural sour creams.
There's you can make it. There's
many
multiple
creams.
kinds of sour cream.
So instead of chips, it's rice.
Yeah, and this one it's rice. Also, but just
Would
FYI,
have killed for rice.
I clicked into one of the recipes, and I didn't even get down to the recipe. I just saw the first sentence. Well, near the first sentence, it says, a more lively cousin to the popular, creamy Hawaiian haystacks recipe.
Whoa.
Have you ever heard of that before?
Is it just
Hawaiian.
spam and pineapple versus?
I see mandarin orange,
Sure.
some sort of orange, potentially a watermelon.
What? That's in the Hawaiian version?
The ingredients are skinless,
scared.
boneless chicken breasts, onion, garlic, pepper, chicken broth. You're showing me fruit, and you're not even saying fruit in the ingredients section.
Huh. It's
What in the
yeah,
world?
it's really charming that these have like no correlation whatever to like whatever culture they're like, claiming, like Hawaiian or or Mexican.
Oh man.
Like if you're
Yeah.
making some sort of like Hawaiian abomination that doesn't include spam, like you've probably already messed up.
True.
Well, I want to find the highest rated Mexican haystack recipe on Google, and I want to cook that. That's my new.
some sort of
my new
Gordon
goal.
Ramsay Mexican haystack.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's gonna definitely be
Alton
the
Brown.
quality of Gordon Ramsay.
Well, yeah, good. I feel like I learned something now because I mean, now that I think of it, like that it's a pile of stuff. I get the haystack thing, but when I first heard it, I was thinking more of like a hay bale, but like what?
Just
like
a
what kind of
rectangle
food? Yeah, it would be
burrito.
a rectangle. I don't know.
Right. What kind of Mexican food
The-
that's almost for surely not Mexican food because it's served in a elementary school cafeteria or whatever.
The hay correlation is probably just that this meal is just basically all kind of brown and tan. It's just chips and meat.
Just a
Ugh.
pile.
Yeah, because I can't even imagine as like a younger kid, I was just like, yeah, just give me the chips, the meat, and like maybe like they snuck some lettuce on there, you know, and it's just cheese and
Be
taco
lucky
sauce.
for some shredded cheese.
Yeah, very, very little other, you know, tasty Mexican accoutrements.
Mm-hmm.
Man. Hot
All right.
lunch.
Well, Joe.
Mystery solved.
Since this is not your premier Mexican haystacking podcast, what is first and last for any of our first-time viewers
Who
who
are
have
still
made
here.
it this far?
Twist. It's a TV podcast. Because we're all just TV podcasts out here. But this one's kind of unique in that we take a TV show and then only watch the first episode and the last episode. Nothing in between. And it's typically a show we've never seen before, so we're really just like judging it on the merits of how it started and how it ended. We miss all the drama, all the growth, and we just
The journey.
Yeah, it's like a Mexican haystack without all the meat and cheese. It's just like some chips and then maybe some like
A
an
carton
olive.
of cardboard box of milk.
Yeah, just wash it on down.
Yeah, we have a very unique podcast. Pretty much one of the only ones of its type on the internet.
Yeah, except no substitutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely the
So-
best of the genre.
For sure. That's guaranteed. But Joe, I guess it's your your show decision tonight, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Are we
It's
finally
food-related.
watching Clue, TV show that doesn't exist?
Yeah, the Clue TV. No, but it is getting hard to pick shows because as I'm scrolling through our like streaming services, we've done a lot of these.
There's so
but
the amount of shows I have on a list is insane. I can't believe it how it's
Yeah.
hard to pick. But keep going.
but yeah, I found one that I have never seen, but I am intrigued about just because of who's in it. So this week we're doing the Mindy Project.
Oh, nice. I can't believe we haven't done that yet.
Yeah, created by and starring Mindy Kaling
BJ Novak
from
of The Office.
The Mindy Project, starring BJ Novak.
Written and produced by Steve Carell.
I bet BJ Novak is
I
involved here.
would put $1 on the fact that BJ Novak, we see him in one of the 2 episodes that we
Makes
watched.
an appearance.
He's listed as a
I don't know about
producer.
Of course.
Well, yeah, there you go. So yeah, Mindy Kaling was she played Kelly Kapoor on The Office and was also a producer and writer behind the scenes of that show. And it's kind of one of those things where, I'm just surprised that NBC just lets their talent walk, like including Mindy
Yeah.
Kaling and, all of the people from SNL. Like they just had, especially in like the early 2000s, just a comedy, like, I don't know what the metaphor would be here, but they like had like a
Dynasty.
good, like, just like, yeah, but of like people who aren't like full on stars yet, right? Where, even Steve Carell, when he started on The Office, was like just kind of starting to become a big deal. And that they didn't just like try to hang on to all these talented people is
Yeah,
mind boggling to me. I read on the Mindy Project Wikipedia that like, yeah, it was a show that they had like, tossed around at NBC, and then they eventually decided not to do it, and then Fox picked it up, and I'm just like, how?
Yeah.
Without even seeing,
17 episodes.
without even like me even seeing the show or knowing if it's good, it could be terrible, but like it's a known quantity. Like people are gonna watch the
I'm
pilot.
pretty confident in the fact that like Mindy Kaling, knowing that she was also behind the scenes in The Office, as well, based and how she was very funny in The Office
Right.
when she was on it. I'm very confident that at least in the beginning of the show, it's probably fire. Yeah, I think I could do
Yeah.
that. It's 6 seasons and 117 episodes long, and that's pretty long for a sitcom to go. So I mean, it could have definitely
made
fallen off just because of, maybe it should have ended kind of thing. But I think it's going to be good in the first time, and I think it's silly, yeah, like you said, for them to maybe not trust in their talent. Essentially, it's just like the people that make the money decisions. I just don't think understand what is going to be, and it, like sometimes even is currently funny, Was like Andy Samberg
Yeah, I don't know.
when he was on, because was he on SNL for a while, or a writer, or there you go.
Yeah, but,
And what's Brooklyn Nine-Nine on, or what was it on, I guess?
Brooklyn was on,
It was on Fox.
Yeah, it was on
so
Fox.
It wasn't even on SNL's channel.
and then it moved.
Mhm.
But it got picked up by NBC, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Later, like last year or so.
Right.
Yeah. I think it's just had one season.
I mean, I don't know
so
what
far.
I don't know what the timeline is between him on
On
SNL and
NBC.
like that show starting, but I'm sure he had some sort of like idea of it going in, but just even those like Lonely Island guys, and just not going, well, there's at least a pretty solid section of the demographics that we want that likes these people, and the fact that they don't have like a
Right.
show of their own seems weird almost, or like they did, maybe not 2020. I don't know. I watched Popstar. It was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I haven't yet.
I actually haven't seen
It's
that.
it's funny.
I assume it's funny.
Uh,
I was agreeing in principle.
it's definitely good enough to watch once. I mean, a lot.
Great. Because I have seen some movies that are not good enough to watch
Yeah,
once.
agreed. Definitely agreed. Looking at you, Suicide Squad.
Oof.
Yeah,
The second
right.
one was much better. The reimagining.
Okay, Mindy.
So do you guys know anything
No,
about the show?
I mean I know Mindy Kaling is the star of it. I mean, I'm gonna
Yeah, that's all I
give
know.
a little basic rundown of what I think this is gonna happen. Mindy Kaling, not necessarily new in town. She's either living in L.A. or New York. She's probably a like fashion designer, lawyer, or I don't have a third. She's a fashion designer or a lawyer. She's definitely single, but potentially just newly recently single, because that'll add a whole new thing to it. And she has a friend who is just a wreck, you know, like a mess of a friend. But she also is a pretty solid wreck at the beginning of the show.
Mhm.
Are you just describing her character
probably.
of The Office?
Except she definitely was not a lawyer in The Office. But she did like fashion in The
Oh,
Office.
true.
So
Yeah, as you were saying that, I'm remembering that I'm like 95% sure I know what her occupation is.
was
or
it
at least
one
what
of the
field
two that I
she's in.
said?
Damn.
No.
Is
Limp operator? Is that Yeah, I do.
But it is
Oh, you wish.
it is similar in that it is like she is a successful person.
She's a lady on the go,
which
you
I
know,
think-
like
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I feel like she would try to, create a separation between her new show and her character from the
Yeah, her
Office
character in the
that
Mindy
way.
Project doesn't work at like a stale office job.
That's a good point.
Jimmy, have you seen the show at all?
I have seen bits and pieces while my wife has she watched this whole thing and absolutely loves this show, so I know
Okay.
what she is and kind of her character. I know that Chris Messina is in it, who is in The Newsroom that I love
What show?
very much.
I've never heard of that show.
I know he's
Newsroom?
in
What are you talking
other
about?
stuff too.
Newsroom?
Just kidding. That was actually a good looking show. I enjoyed it when we did.
It was great, and he's great in it, and he's, I'm sure, great in this show. But I've seen like scenes. I probably haven't seen like a whole episode, and definitely not the first or last.
Okay.
Oh, there's someone else funny in it.
So yeah, I think in just like a slight different wrinkle to Josh, I think that I also think that she's single, but I think that her romantic interests are like key to the plot. And I think it's kind of I think her job is a big deal too, such that maybe there's like a new cute guy in her workplace that like is creating issues because she's very
I don't know
professional,
why you just
but-
made me think. I'm like, oh, does she work for like a dating app?
Yeah, she's the inventor of Tinder.
That'd be fun. Well,
And they just straight up use Tinder.
what is
in the
it
show.
called in the show? They just call it Tinder. It's not called like Twigs for
Yeah.
Fire or something like that.
It's Tinder with
Oh,
two
there you
R's.
That's how you get around the copyright infringement. I mean,
Well,
should we do it? I mean, I don't. Besides my obviously laundry list of things that I know that the first episode is about, I don't have too much. I want to see what I got right, what I got wrong.
Do we think we see BJ Novak in the first episode?
I would say if we're gonna see him in the first or the last, we'd probably see him in the first. So,
Yeah. I think he's
Yeah.
probably like Rachel Dratch is in 30 Rock, where it's like she's like there all the time in the
Okay.
beginning and then kind of fades away.
Nice.
Let's find out. Let's find out if BJ Novak storms his way into the pilot of his friend's show. When did this one come out? Did it come out online first? It says, according to Wikipedia right now, it says the pilot episode, the original air date was August 27th, 2012, online. And then on September 25th of that year, it was on Fox. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
Weird.
Maybe it was a thing they were doing with Hulu or something. I could see 2012 people.
Okay, well, I already know what her job is based on. I accidentally
Yeah.
read the first sentence in the pilot thing. But that's fine. It's called Pilot.
Is it called The Pilot?
So she's a pilot.
She's a pilot?
So all right.
Cool.
Pie
World?
Jimmy, I'm trying to let us go to the thing. We're gonna go watch the show. And we're back from the first episode of The Mindy Project, starring Mindy Kaling. Jimmy, do you have a write-up?
Here's what I have for the pilot.
Okay.
September 25th, 2012. Mindy is a 30-something OBGYN whose love life hits a snag after a messy breakup with her long-term boyfriend. After getting drunk and making a scene at his wedding, Mindy vows to put the past behind her, find the perfect man, and get her life on track. Yeah, that's kind of what happens. She also goes on a date with Ed Helms. That's
right,
step
yeah,
one.
that was the Office character. It wasn't BJ Novak.
So close.
I want to point out, though, I said fashionista or lawyer. I was wrong. Doctor.
Yeah.
I said newly single. Correct. BFF is a wreck. Her BFF seemed like she had a kid and actually had stuff together. It was Mindy who was the wreck.
Yep.
And then LA or New York, and it is in New York. So I got 2 out of 4. I'm just saying.
All right. 50%.
I don't need points. I just want your praise.
I give you an F.
All in all, what are people's thoughts? Did it rope you in? Are you into it?
Yeah, I thought it was really funny.
Okay.
I'm hooked.
I'm hooked just based on just jokes, really.
Yeah, seriously.
I feel like the
Seriously
show
funny.
could have been about pretty much anything, but the jokes hit, so I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was a
There
nice,
seemed to be
tight little pilot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was good. It was solid. I mean, it definitely focused just very heavily, just singularly. There we go. I did it. On like Mindy's character. Was her name Mindy?
Yeah, her name is Mindy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. I didn't know if it was like a.
Not Mindy Kaling though.
Yeah. It's Mindy something else.
Something else.
Lahiri? I'm probably saying that wrong. But pretty much focused very
Sounds
specifically on her, and then introduced her like side characters, her friends, like her best friend that was only in like one scene, and then like kind of throwing in the doctors that she works around every once in a while. It's not like Ed. I don't feel like Ed Helms is really going to come back.
Yeah,
for
probably
many
not.
more episodes, if not.
Maybe another
But
ep.
He's probably in like the 3rd episode. They mention him in the 2nd, and he comes back in the 3rd.
I was just gonna look and see if. Okay, there wasn't like 2 episodes on the opening day. Because I could see that happening. Just throwing him in the 2-part opener. The first scene though was like Mindy and they were all not what's the word, residents. I was gonna say interns. They're all residents. So that was interesting. And then she runs into Bill Hader. Weren't we just watching something where Bill Hader dropped in? Orphan Black?
I don't remember.
No, that's not it.
He played, Bill Hader played Tatiana in all of those characters in Orphan
He
Black.
was excellent in that. He played all those women.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm confusing. It's the pandemic, so I've been watching a lot of content. Maybe I just saw him in something else. But
Yeah.
that was a fun little surprise.
Yeah, because it starts out with, like we realize that Mindy's been like arrested, and she's like, no, wait, let me like start from the beginning. And so yeah, it goes back to, I guess, way back when we like see her with her other like OBGYN residents, like taking in some sort of patient. But then what's his name? Bill Hader walks by, and I guess he's like a hot doctor, which is like the first note that I wrote down is like, is Bill Hader hot?
Sure.
Because he's treated
Mindy
as
thought
like,
so.
yeah, like he walks by and then the Mindy character is like, oh, there he is. There's that guy. And she like is infatuated with him. And I'm like, am I just not seeing it? Is Bill Hader hot? Has he been hot the whole time?
I think Bill
Twist.
Hader might be so funny he's hot.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Or is he so hot he's funny?
No, that's not it.
I feel like Bill Hader is hot because he's funny, but like just Bill Hader based on looks, as in like this character doctor he's playing, I'm sure is not very funny.
Yeah, it wasn't like Clooney walking in. You
Yeah.
know, it wasn't ER Clooney.
He's not.
So-
He's certainly not unattractive. I mean, he would not be as big a deal as he is if he wasn't somewhat attractive, right? I never
guess.
thought about it before.
I guess I just like kind of see him as like Rainn Wilson. They're just like both kind of just little weird looking dudes.
Sure.
I'm in a Joe camp here. I think with the Bill Hader. I'm in the Hader camp with Joe.
You're a Bill
He might
Hader
be-
hater?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
There's no
it's
hating.
like an acquired taste.
I really
It's
want
like
to
if
watch
you're-
Is Barry over?
I'm not sure, but I've
Is it
heard good things.
HBO? I'm going to look it up.
I think I've seen only the first.
Nice.
But yeah, so Bill Hader walks by, and it's this other doctor that she's into. Long story short, they end up dating for a few years, I guess, and then they break up. I don't know if it's a few years, but it's at least like a long
It was
relationship.
a while.
Yeah.
It was a while.
And then Bill Hader moves on and like is getting married, and Mindy gets invited to the wedding, and she gets drunk and like makes an inappropriate speech. And then yeah, she like steals a bike and then like rides off into the night and then like crashes into
Yeah.
someone's swimming pool. Is that like how she gets arrested?
Yeah.
That's pretty much accurate. I feel like it's just like rule number one is if you're making a speech at someone's wedding, number one, make sure that they want you to, because I feel like she was giving one while she wasn't supposed to. And then just you don't need to mention if you've ever had sex with one of the two people getting married, even if everybody knows it.
Yeah.
It's just like, you don't need to say that.
That's a rule. That's a general rule.
Yeah, not in front of Gam
So
Gam.
it's pretty bold unwritten law, I think, right there.
Mhm. She broke both of those rules in
Yeah.
a speech.
Right. And then kind of like the rest of the episode was her just like trying to like get over it and figure it out a little bit, but she
Yeah.
had like
That's kind of her
the-
rock bottom, and now she's like, I gotta like pull this shit together.
I don't think she got that much higher after that though in this
Yeah,
episode at
because
least.
as much as pulling it together was just like going on a blind date with her friend's friend. I think that's who that ended up being.
Was it Gwen's friend? I don't know.
That's what I thought, that it was Gwen's friend who is single, that like Gwen was saying like, you can't screw this up, like we like vet these pretty hard.
Okay, yeah. That rings a bell.
Which, and
It's kind of
like,
funny because she really was like acting like she was super into Ed Helms, and he was like saying like really boring things,
Yeah.
you know? And she was just like agreeing with him. So
going into the date with the blind date mystery man, I thought it was going to be BJ Novak, but it wasn't.
yeah. If he was going to show up, it would have been there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I just wanted to say a quick Gwen, by the way, is Anna Camp, who is in well, she's actually in a lot of stuff, but she's like the head girl in Pitch Perfect. The head of that group. She's great. She throws up
I
a
would
lot.
know that if I've never seen that movie.
What?
No. Never seen Pitch Perfect. Never seen High
Silly.
School Musical.
Okay, those
really,
are
if
not the same.
if the movie has a musical
not
term
equal.
in it, I ain't watching it. Not happening.
Okay, you described a Disney film and like an adult comedy. Two different things.
Hey, it stands true for both.
Okay.
So it works. No one's forced me to watch those movies yet, and that's why I haven't seen them. I have no comment on either one of those really. Just haven't seen them.
I think technically
making
I've seen High School Musical, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Can we get into her like romantic comedy like obsession?
Oh yeah, that's kind of where this whole episode starts. It's like her as a little kid watching rom-coms, and then kind of throughout her growing up. And then actually one of my favorite lines in this whole episode is when she was drunk on the bicycle riding towards the pool. She's like, "I'm Sandra Bullock."
Yeah.
I lolled.
Yeah, because she sees her life as like hopefully being like a rom-com. But yeah, I laughed at that too, and she's just like hammered, like thinking she's Sandra Bullock.
Okay, I did think that was good, but I think this I don't know. Maybe I thought too far into it, but I feel like it was like she was narrating right at the beginning of the episode, and she was like, "I want my life to be like romantic comedies," and now a little throughout this episode, I'm gonna sprinkle in why this is a romantic comedy. So I'm like, okay, this is like a driver of this show then, because it was introduced so specifically at the beginning. And I've kind of thought this for a while, but like romantic comedies for the most part are just like really messed up. Like in general, like a pretty solid like romantic comedy like structure is like girl, guy like dating, something bad happens, then you pick one of them to be your main character, so now they're trying to like find love. They usually end up meeting someone who's married, and then like and then in general that person ends up cheating on their wife, breaking up with them, and they fall in love, and for some reason that is beautiful and amazing. And then that's the end of the rom-com, and I'm like, all you're watching is one person be happy because everybody else's lives are being destroyed around them. And so like I have a weird I look at rom-coms weird now as an adult.
Yeah, a lot of them tend to include some like sociopathic behavior that's just kind of glazed over.
Yeah.
Just treat it as like a romantic gesture when like really like someone is doing something like abusive or
like blatantly cheating on like a spouse.
Yeah. I hear you.
I don't want to bring the mood down, but like that's what I like.
And I think there's something about that, the like romanticizing like horrible behavior that is, brought down Western culture's like ability to stay married. I think there's something about all that is tongue in cheek about this. Like Mindy sees her life as this, but really what's happening is a shit show, and that's like kind of the humor in it. It's kind of dark and sad, but like she's just kind of blowing through it the best that she can while being kind of deluded. And it's
I mean through that lens, like the joke is on her, really.
Right. It's a little bit of kind of like a Ben Stiller vibe, where like all of his movies he's like the butt of all the horrible things that are going on. You know what I mean?
Ben Stiller, star of Heavyweights. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Maybe not heavy. Well, I guess Heavyweights.
He's kind of the butt of the joke in Heavyweights as well. So
yeah, but like more the ones like Along Came Polly and why is that the one I went to? Something About Mary.
Something About Mary.
I mean, both of those, but like the Fockers, Meet the Parents. Where he's just I have such a hard time. I know that they're funny. I know that he's funny, but like such horrible things are just happening to him all throughout the entire film. Like that's,
and like he doesn't really deserve it either. It's just sort of happening to him.
Oh, it makes my heart hurt.
Yeah.
So that I feel like my like weird hatred for romantic comedies slightly like still stinted my like of the episode, but all in all, like Mindy Kaling's being funny and it just having good jokes kind of like at least went over that, and me just going, all right, this is all a joke anyway, so it's good.
I feel like if they are, beyond this first episode, if they are going to go for we're gonna make fun of or at least use rom-com tropes in our TV show, I feel like that's hard to do because like a lot of those tropes are just things in TV shows. It's like it'd be one thing if it was like we're gonna make a TV show and have it be like take things from like a telenovela, right? Like Jane the Virgin, where there are like very specific things that you wouldn't see in like your typical like sitcom comedy. But like a rom-com isn't that far from like your typical Fox sitcom, so like it might be something that just kind of falls by the wayside in favor of just being it's just part of the show as opposed to something they're sending up.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe they might like talk about it maybe slightly in the finale or something. But
you got predicts about that?
No, I don't have predicts specifically about romantic comedies or anything. Oh, well then. I mean, the focus on romance and her like I mean, the bulk of the story is obviously just her like trying to find a mate, essentially. Yeah. Get her life together and find a mate.
That's like her number one goal, it seems.
Yeah, and so that weighs into my predictions, but not like she's gonna like steal someone's man and it's gonna be hilarious. It's gonna be awesome and great.
Man,
we won't even think about how much it ruined the other person's life.
I might be thinking too much, but now that we've talked about all of this, like I definitely like Mindy Kaling a lot, and I definitely respect that she would be able to write a good show and be a little bit like she's a comedian for sure, but like I could see her doing something more dramatic too, where like she finds out at the end, like comes to a realization that she doesn't actually need to be in a relationship to fulfill her life, and just end up single or something,
So are you saying that you don't have wedding as a prediction?
I mean, I don't specifically have a wedding, but I have predicts. But now I'm rethinking them. I'm not gonna change it now. I'm in too deep.
I mean,
I've
nothing would make
it
me
down.
Fair enough.
It's in pen.
Nothing would make me happier than seeing like something being turned on its head, for sure, in the end. But that brings me to my first prediction.
Oh.
Are we ready for those?
Yeah.
All right. Wedding. There's a wedding. My first prediction is there's a wedding. So I mean, really quick preview of my predictions. My predictions all revolve solely around Mindy or a blimp. Number one,
right.
There's a wedding. Number two, that wedding is Mindy marrying Danny, the other doctor.
Okay. Oh, we didn't talk much about them. Danny, the other doctor, is kind of.
They have.
I was just gonna say that Danny Castellano. Yeah, they're kind of like frenemies. Like
he's the Mr. Dorsey, right? Of the show.
What's a Mr.
Pride
Dorsey?
and Prejudice? Anybody? No?
No.
Okay. I'm the only one that reads. That's fine. Just the guy that kind of like he starts off as the dick, but in reality he's like the perfect man for her, kind of thing. Mm-hmm. Like it's passion is what it is. It's not hatred. There's passion between those two. And I think they're together. But I'm saying specifically it's their wedding. Okay. Number 3 is Mindy. Like in the first episode, the bookmark of the bookend of this whole show is Mindy has a run-in with the law again in this episode.
I like that.
And then of course number 4, until it happens, we got a blimp.
Nice.
We're due.
I thought when you said Blimp and Mindy that you were going to do a fat shaming thing like Danny did.
What? Come on, man. No.
Which definitely like took the air out. That was the one like not funny moment in this whole show. And specifically, she writes in her own like fat shaming line from Danny.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, oh man.
Yeah,
there.
So there's a scene where Danny and Mindy are like razzing each other, and then Mindy says something about like Danny's ex-wife, and then Danny says something like, yeah, you know what would make that outfit look really good is if you lost 15 pounds, which just sort of like, yeah, that's where it lost me a little bit. Not in that like, not that I think jokes are too mean or whatever, but just that I feel like
Mindy
they were
obviously was okay with making that joke against herself.
Right.
She probably wrote it.
But just in
so.
like the context of the show where I don't really know these characters yet. I don't really know if they're friends. And then for him to say something
how
like
mean
that,
was that supposed to be?
Yeah, like me as a viewer, like I'm just like, so is that guy just an asshole or is this like a thing that they have? Like,
so Josh thinks Danny can come back from that, huh?
Yeah. So I guess like,
dude, have you seen Gilmore Gossip Girl, whichever one? That dude. I mean, you've seen some pretty shitty dudes come back from
exactly.
fucking awful stuff. So yeah.
So that does tie into my predictions in that. So Josh said that he thinks that Mindy and Danny end up together. I think they specifically don't. I think Mindy's love interest is someone that we did not see in the pilot. I think she has a for sure love interest, but it's not someone seen in the pilot. I think that they were trying to go that way with Danny and Mindy, but I think just at least from what I saw in the pilot, I don't think that the chemistry is there between the actors, where that kind of like rough passion just looks just rough rather than like something that could turn into love eventually. So yeah, I think they realize that too, and they just go a different direction.
Okay.
My bookend kind of thing is that I think Mindy is having a baby.
Ooh.
Just kind of a, weird loop around of her being a baby doctor, and now she's having her own baby.
I like it.
I think,
but not Danny's.
No. I think someone eats a donut. I just been craving a donut recently, and I'd like to.
Ooh.
Have some wish fulfillment in the show and watch someone eat a donut.
You'd like to watch someone to eat a donut. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It's more of a wish than a prediction.
Nice.
Is this a guess or a wish? Anyways. I think my last one, I think that Mindy looks at and speaks to the camera, kind of in a way of like breaking the fourth wall. Yeah.
It's been a while since we've had a good fourth wall break.
Yeah. We've had moments in this pilot where she was either speaking in voiceover or like she looked at the camera because it was just like a head-on shot, but not the two things together. I think it's a full fourth wall break.
Nice. Is it my turn?
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
I have number 1, Mindy ends up with Danny.
Oh, really?
Right.
Because here's the thing. I totally get where I think you both are coming from. I think they like maybe intentionally, well, obviously intentionally had them sort of like have a lot of friction. But Danny was also the person that Mindy spent the most time with in this entire episode. There's just multiple scenes, her and Danny, and I just feel like it was setting up, even though they were definitely not anything in this first episode. I want to see it, and it seemed like there could be a hint of that. I also think I wrote that down before the weight little jab. So anyway,
we'll see. We'll see who's right.
Sticking with it. Number 2, my one bookend is I think Mindy texts someone in this. I think she's obsessed with her phone, and that's sort of another character in this show. I think Mindy delivers twins. Also, question. So she's an OBGYN. I did not realize they also are the deliverers. Like, I feel like you go see your OBGYN, but like you end up at the hospital. There's just like whoever is on call at the hospital delivers your baby. I don't think your OBGYN like wakes up and is like, "Oh, cool.
This
I'll
is my
be right
baby."
there."
Yeah.
Like,
I gotta see
hopefully
this
I live
project to the
close.
end.
So that seems odd. But also, I also read that this show came about, Mindy wrote it because her mom was an OBGYN.
Hmm.
So I guess she would know.
I mean, definitely more than any one of us, I would say.
Number 4, I think somebody say anything's someone, and that's
like
the rom-com.
like boombox
Yeah.
on top of the head? Okay.
Yeah. Somebody say anything's someone is what I wrote. We'll know. Could be Mindy, could be Danny, could be the British guy who she was boning throughout this whole thing.
Jeremy.
Jeremy. Yeah.
Dr. Jeremy.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess time will tell, and we should see the last episode. Also, for some reason, I think I said Mr. Dorsey. I meant Mr. Darcy when it came to Pride and Prejudice. Maybe that's why you guys didn't know what I was
Who
talking about.
reads?
Because I messed a vowel up.
Yeah. I totally
either
would have
way.
got that if you said it right.
Either way, yeah, that's my fault. I
Mr.
read.
Dorsal fin.
I read a book before. Let's watch the final episode of the show. The finale was on November 14th of 2017, and it was called "It Had to Be You." We'll be back after that. And we are back from the finale of the Mindy Project. It had to be you. Speaking of it had to be you, Jimmy, do you got a write-up?
Yeah, it had to be Danny.
Yeah,
The end. The end of write-up. No,
As we all knew it was going to be. Obviously.
2/3 of us did. In this series finale, Mindy struggles to find a new investor after learning she doesn't have enough money to keep her practice open on her own. Tamara and Morgan wed, and Annette goes into surgery for a double mastectomy.
Oh, that was it? That was like the middle of the show.
Yeah. Should we see if Oh, that's not. That actually tells me less about this episode. I hate on Hulu it gives you a description, but then if it's too long, it just gives you like an ellipses, but there's nowhere to go to read the rest of it.
Nice.
It's ridiculous.
I mean, we can walk through this, right? I feel like not a whole lot really happened.
Sure.
Per se, Mindy had a business partner in her some sort of like
Jody.
fertility clinic, potentially. Is that what it was?
Yeah, it's her name. Lahiri Fertility Clinic.
Okay. And then her co-business partner was leaving and got rid of their and took their equity. I don't know if that's necessarily. I don't think that's how that works.
He left with like his half of the company essentially, and it was enough to be an issue.
I was just trying to think of like if two people own a business and they have a half of the company, and they just leave. You just take money out of their account. Like, doesn't he have to sell off his like part of the company if the company is going to continue in any fashion? It doesn't matter either way. She had to find another investor. Essentially, that was the problem there. But then also her employees, Morgan and was it Tamara? Was that her name?
I think so.
Were getting married, so they wanted her to come to the wedding, and on top of Danny's mom needing to have surgery. So then Mindy goes to the wedding and then makes a realization that she loves Danny still, I guess, because they must have been together.
Mid-toast, which is a bookend.
Was that before? That was after he ends up funding the rest of her business, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it turns out I don't know if it was like an accountant or something that called her to let her know that like there is a new investor and it's this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's this guy.
That was literally during the ceremony of the wedding is when she found that out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, in which Rob McElhenney is officiating from It's Always Sunny fame.
Yeah, he had like 9 names, but one of his names was like Mr. Tookus or something like that.
Yeah, he was supposed to have like a Boston accent or something, because their last name is Tookers, but it kept sounding like he was saying Tookus, which I think was part of the joke, that it sounded like he was talking about butts, but I don't know.
I assumed it was a butt joke for sure, but I didn't know where it was coming from. Just I thought it was a unsolicited butt joke is what we were getting.
Yeah.
You know.
But,
so yeah, pretty much it wraps up the like plot storyline and also the romantic storyline both getting resolved in Danny coming back.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she's giving like the toast at the wedding then after that and decides like, oh, I need to leave and find Danny now and tell him I love him and see if that works out. But on the way back, guys, she gets on the bike, like the exact same bike that she went into the pool on in the first episode, but like a different color.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know it's only for a joke, but she's like biking to wherever he is and then takes like a shortcut through someone's backyard with a pool. That's not how that works. That's
how you do it. And she's like, not today, pool. Not this time.
Yeah, she's like, you're not going to get me, pool. And I was like,
it's a metaphor, Josh.
No, it's there would be no reason for her to bike through. A sober person trying to bike to a hospital does not have to bike through like probably a fenced-in backyard with a pool to get there. A drunk person in episode 1 biking around because they're like blasted definitely does that. So me just being too much of a stickler for details went, not a funny joke. I get what you're doing and I'm mad.
You're like, she's not wearing a helmet.
I would say this, all of this felt different than the pilot to me. It felt like a different show. It was a little more off the rails, like right out of the gate. Like in the previously on, I was like, Rhea Perlman's in this? It was way more zany. Like it felt like a Tina Fey show where it's just there's like kind of quick weird things that are happening, like an Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt or something, where it's just a little bit too not possible, which was not what the pilot felt like.
Yeah, it felt same for me. Right from the beginning, the tone just felt different. Like it also like I noticed that it sounded like there was more background music, which I think kind of gave me like a 30 Rock feel too, except like I don't know, for some reason it's different in 30 Rock where they have this like kind of cheerful jazz music in the background. For some reason it felt like a little goofier here, maybe because the comedy was a little goofier.
I mean, all the music that is playing in this show, it's similar to the first episode, probably pretty like constant through, but it just seems like it's really like pop music, that a very specific type of pop music. I didn't notice that there was more. I didn't notice any like there being like more or less of it, but that's interesting that you.
Yeah, it just felt different to me
wind.
immediately.
Yeah. maybe it was like in the Hulu switch. Maybe there's some production value change. I don't know. Some editing changes. Because I think this last season at least was straight to Hulu. Like maybe
It was
weekly.
Well, it was the
Must have
last
been
3.
weekly. The last 3 seasons. Okay.
Yeah, it was divided
Oh.
in half. It was 6 seasons. 3 were on Fox, 3 were on Hulu.
Interesting.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah,
So I'm
maybe that does
wondering if-
explain it.
Yeah, midway through, it's got a different vibe.
It also, like, I mean,
Different showrunner or something.
just looking at seasons 1 through 4 had 21 to 26 episodes in the seasons, and then 5 and 6 had 14 and 10. So
Yeah,
it definitely I guess I don't know how they get. I don't know how. I mean, they don't do it. It mentions like the U.S. viewers on seasons 1 through 3 on IMDb, but obviously there's no real like that data isn't available for Hulu.
Right.
So who knows what the like where the audience went. I mean, the transition from network to streaming solely has got to be pretty hard. Because if you I don't know, if
Yeah,
you went from
weekly
Hulu, if you went from Hulu and then you were like, now we're going to be on once a week on Fox starting next season and not on Hulu at all, I'd be like, cool, I don't watch that show anymore, I guess. So, like that would be me. And I bet that's a lot of people, but then also I bet there's people that say, oh, it's not on Fox anymore. I guess I don't watch it. It's on Hulu.
Yeah.
I guess I don't watch that
I wonder
show
where
anymore.
where that age line is. That if it's network to streaming, it helps or hurts. Is
Yeah.
it like 43? Like this is where it makes a difference.
I mean, there's definitely an age range, but there's also plenty of people in their young, like mid 30s, early 30s, like us, that would like be like, well, I don't watch Hulu, I watch TV
Yeah.
too. I mean, there's plenty of that. Middle America exists, and their internet's bad, Jimmy.
If they have it at all.
Exactly.
I was just thinking like Handmaid's Tale, and I thought of this because Danny's brother. Have you guys seen Handmaid's Tale on
No.
Hulu? Oh my god, so good, so effed up. But Danny's brother in this, Richie Max. Hold on, I wrote it down. Where is it? It's somewhere on this piece of paper. Max Minghella, Minghella, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
He is a big character in Handmaid's Tale, and and that's a show that's on Hulu, but it's weekly. That like you could easily see it that being like an AMC show or like one of those FX. Like it would do probably the same.
Right. I mean, yeah, I could see things being either way, just like being transferred and losing people. It should gain people too, hopefully, but
Yeah. I think there's something to consider too of just timing, where Handmaid's Tale is a huge hit, but that was probably their first hit, I would think, for Hulu, and that was
one of the first for sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing here that was started in 2017, whereas this Mindy Project crossover was in 2015. So maybe they didn't quite have their full promotional backing around Hulu having TV shows quite yet at that point. I mean, I know for sure that I didn't know that Hulu had original shows back then.
Yeah, 2015. Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see it losing a little steam there, and I wonder if there is a like a budget or just production change between going from what they were doing on Fox to Hulu.
Right.
I mean, just watching the first and last, it felt very different.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I didn't like just put my finger on it, because I definitely was like, huh, I'm not that interested in the show anymore after this last episode.
Yeah, it's just some little like mystery magic that's just like, huh, okay. I don't know, something's different. Don't like it.
Yeah.
They definitely threw more like comedians at it. I feel like Morgan, whoever played Morgan, I've seen him in things, and
Yeah, I was looking up
Colette.
what I knew Morgan from. The actor is
yeah.
Ike Barinholtz, and
Oh,
the
yeah.
thing I'd known him from was Blockers, if you've seen that movie.
Okay. Yeah, and Colette is Fortune Feimster, who's a comedian and has been in lots of she's like, I feel like she's in with those like what's that group of ladies that's all do stuff together, like Maya Rudolph and like Amy Poehler. I feel like she's in that crowd.
The Rat Pack.
Yes. The 2020 Women's Rat Pack of comedy.
No, I know. I
There
don't know.
should be a
Yeah,
name for
I don't
them.
know. Yeah, there probably is.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, so like all in all, then, like based on the first episode, which you liked, Joe, and the last episode that you were now pretty iffy about.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you've seen enough to maybe give the beginning part of a chance up until a spot, or are you just done with the show?
Yeah, I think I'm, intrigued enough in the beginning. I think I laughed enough in the first episode that I would watch like episode 2 and see if I laughed just as much.
And 'tis the season for you. You probably, I think at least you probably hunt down a Christmas episode of this show, huh?
You know what? I'm scrolling through the titles and I'm seeing
Oh, really?
episode, yeah, season 2, episode 11, Christmas Party Sex Trip. So maybe I'll watch that
Sounds
next.
great. Sounds great. Oh man.
At least the sex in this show is probably part of the plot, so you'll be fine there.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'll be honest, but I can honestly say that I'm sure I'll never turn the show on again. But it's not for lack of me thinking that like Mindy Kaling's hilarious or whatnot. Just think there's enough stuff up there that this won't speak to me enough to continue for 6 seasons. So part of me is kind of like, why bother? I've seen 2, I'm good.
Sure. I would like to do an inverse of this pod where we watch the season 3 finale, but then the season 4 Hulu pilot after.
Ooh, yeah.
To see,
I'd be interested in that.
to see if there's an immediate difference that we see.
I mean, I'm all for
Fox and Hulu.
science, so I'm not saying that I wouldn't be
Last and
against
first?
a bonus a bonus last and first episode.
Nice. You heard it here. Spinoff.
Man, they have
On
a
all your
Christmas episode like
platforms.
every year.
Oh shoot, Joe, you got so many
Nice.
Christmas episodes to watch.
The
feel
season
like if
1
you're-
is called Josh and Mindy's Christmas Party.
Oh shit, I have to
Nice.
watch that one. I guess I didn't know me and Mindy partied on Christmas.
Yeah, turns out.
Josh. There's no Josh in either of these episodes.
No, that's me. I starred in that
Was-
episode. I didn't tell you
Oh.
guys.
Is that why you don't like it? You're kind of salty that you weren't in those episodes?
Well, I mean, I knew which ones I was in. I wasn't gonna.
Is Josh, because there's another character that in the few, just in passing by my wife watching this, that I've seen, there's another character that I'm thinking of that wasn't in either of these. What is his name? Adam Polly? Are you familiar?
No, I
Is
don't
that
think
the
I am.
character or actor?
That's the actor.
Hmm.
He's in a bunch of random. He's in Happy Endings. Did
Yeah,
you watch
he's in.
that?
I've watched like holiday episodes of Happy Endings, and I recognize this guy.
Did we first announce that?
Oh,
We did,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I know who you're talking about. I didn't know
Max.
his name, his real name. He's Max in Happy Ending. Yeah, Happy Endings.
And I just assumed that he was in this like whole show, but apparently not.
Oh, he's funny. I liked him.
But
So-
I guess that's what happens when you see random scenes of this show.
It's the, it's the risk we take for the service we do
We provide.
for the people.
There was also a lady named Beverly who worked who's Beth Grant, who I know will always know as Kitty from Donnie Darko. She's always kind of
Wow.
kind of the crazy old lady who's just mean in everything.
Yeah, no, she's in charge of
Sparkle.
Sparkle Motion.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
the
terrifying.
teacher. Yeah. I forgot already that she was in the show, and then she was in that like line dance that they did for the wedding.
Oh yeah. Oh man, could have guessed that.
Wedding line
Choreographed
dance. Oh yeah, you really messed up, Jimmy. Why not? Why did you not do that?
I don't know.
Should we get into predictions? We're running long. This is a long boy.
Wow, we really love this show.
We love this show so much. I'll do mine fast because I didn't do great. Number 1 was there is a wedding. Cha-ching. There's my
Boom.
1 point. Spoiler alert. I got no more after that. Because I said Mindy is marrying Danny. Not that they're together. I said that they were getting married in this episode, and that's not true. I also thought Mindy has a run-in with the law as the book end. The book end was apparently her yelling at the pool as she biked by. And then there was a blimp. And unfortunately, there was no blimp. So I will take my 1 point for the wedding.
Nice.
Cool.
Joe?
I don't think I had anything. I had Mindy's having a baby, which she has a child, right? But we just didn't see it.
They kept referring to her
Yeah.
child, so yeah.
Yeah. So not having a baby. I said her love interest is not someone that we saw in the pilot, and it was Danny, so that's out. Someone eats a donut. I don't think I saw any food. And Mindy looks at and speaks to the camera. I don't think I saw that either. So
Yeah, I would agree.
Still had some voiceovers, but
Well, there was one donut, Joe, and it was your score.
0.
ew. Man, I want a donut now. Okay, I had Mindy ends up with Danny, and I really didn't think I was gonna get that point until the last 2 seconds of this show.
I would have bet 10 points that you would have got that 1 point when you said that. So
I scrolled through the episodes, and it looked like they were a thing in like season 3 and broke up, and that's how long ago this has been like going on. Number 2, I had Mindy text someone. I didn't see a text. She was definitely on her phone a couple times, but no texting. Just getting called in the middle of ceremonies.
she was using those voice calls like an old person.
Yeah, call me maybe. Just going strong. She did not deliver twins or any did not seemingly do any work in this episode. And then nobody say anything to anyone else. So that's
No,
a bummer.
and that's a bummer because I would have loved. Who doesn't like a good say anything?
I bet it happens.
I'm sure. Yeah, I would say it probably does happen in this show. Just not in the last
I'll ask
or the
my
first. There you go.
She'll
Get back to us. Get back to us if you find out if that happens or not. All right. Well, that's that. All right. We all did all right. Joe kept his streak up of continuing to get no points. No, you got points last week. Never mind.
Consistent.
Consistent in the worst possible way. But thank you, everybody, for listening to First and Last. We appreciate you. If you want to get a hold of us, you can hit us up at F&L Podcast on the Gmails or on the Twitters. Give us show suggestions like Jimmy got last week for Orphan Black. You, too, can have an Orphan Black of your own if you suggest a show. And like in 5 stars if you want to subscribe and whatnot. That'd be great. We'll see you next week for episode 171. These numbers are getting high. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
hang up. You hang up first.